See you. Chris sees me. James, yes. Hello, Scott. You, Chris, yes. Robert, yes. A human. Hello, Jeff, David Lee, Brett, everyone's here. Kevin. Hey, Kev. Matt, Ryan. Yep, everyone can see and hear me. Is this a backer only? I presume it's a backer only thing, right? No, I haven't backed. Oh, you haven't backed. Okay, so it's share this event. Okay, let me just share on Twitter. Does it give me a stat to say how? Oh, yeah, 390 people. Wow. Yes, I'm number 7 on the trending page, apparently. Awesome. I'm on the first page. Is there like 10 on the first page? ALYX. It's an interesting pronunciation. 1.21 billion people. Giga. Okay, so people, yeah, it looks like anyone can view this. That's kind of cool. Although it'd be, I think it may have had the option. I think it may have had I can't go back. I don't want to go back. I don't want to touch it. Don't want to breathe on it. Anyway, I had to reboot my machine in order to get this damn thing working. It just wouldn't detect my camera and my mic on 2 different browsers. And then I rebooted and all of a sudden, boom. So, yep. Magic. Just shutting down a few tabs here. Got too many tabs open. I need to see a psychologist about my tab hoarding obsession. David's over there nodding. He's greatly disturbed by the number of tabs that I have open, like 50 tabs.
You can't read any of the titles anymore?
You can't read the titles. Yeah, he finds that disturbing. So what am I up to on the Kickstarter? Thanks, everyone, for joining us. 418 people. Wow. Geez, that's almost as good as like going live on YouTube. That's amazing. Where did everyone hear about this? Is it just you were visiting the Kickstarter or what? Where did people come from? Did you get emailed as a backer? You had over 500 tabs once. YouTube. Oh, YouTube? What? It's on my YouTube page. Is it logged in? Is it using my YouTube? David, can you check? Is it on my YouTube channel? Really? Twitter? A lot of people said YouTube. No, so I'm not. No, it's not doing this through YouTube. So, yeah, people came through the announcement video, but then they went to the Kickstarter and they're viewing it on Kickstarter. Everyone's viewing this on Kickstarter, right? On the Kickstarter website, you're not viewing it on YouTube. Yes. Correct. Yep. I like that there's no delay in this thing. There's absolutely no delay whatsoever. Somebody on Twitter said they bought a gaming or something chat company or whatever, and this gave them the live capability. So they're not using, your existing platforms, Ustream, YouTube, and all those sort of data, whatever. There's various ones. So everyone's viewing it on Kickstarter. That's groovy. And I assume it says it's recording. So this is just a test. I saw that this is a feature on Kickstarter and you can go live and bingo, here we are, 419. So where is the campaign up to? So 113,000. Wow. 417 backers. I was talking with David about this before. Congratulations. Yes, the 42,000 goal, by the way, was just like a random number. It was like low enough to not appear greedy, but high enough to make it seem sensible, and 42 is the meaning of life. So I just whacked 3 zeros on the end. It wasn't it's not a real target. It's just one of those, figures that you have to put because you don't want to put too high. Then it's all a psychology thing. People see that it's too high, then they'll go, oh, he's greedy. And, I won't bother backing. But then if you set it too low, you'll know they're not serious or whatever, or they're just, dicking around. And it's just a number I pulled out of my ass. 42,000. Thank you, everyone. Meaning of life. When did I start this Kickstarter? Chris asks. I shot the video on the 15th of November. I think you can see it on my watch in the video. But that's basically when I started it. So it hasn't been up long. It didn't put much effort into it. It's just like a crude video. It's not polished. It's not, you know, anything like that. And then I was going to release it earlier, but then we had an issue with last minute. They were going to ship these meters. They were like at the 11th hour, they were ready to ship them almost. And they were calibrating the final units, and they found this weird bug in the calibration of it on the high resistance, one of the high resistance ranges. It was giving them a certain mode combinations or something would give them an out of spec reading, and they couldn't figure out why. So they held off shipping them, and they had to talk to the multimeter chipset manufacturer because they couldn't figure it out in their code. And apparently the chipset manufacturer, Hycontech, came back and said, oh yeah, you probably should be using voltage mode instead of current mode for this particular resistance range. And so they changed that and fixed it, and everything's good now. So I was kind of waiting for, like, because I didn't know whether it was a hardware problem, or if it was a hardware problem, I didn't want to promise a December delivery because it would have just been blown out the water. So yeah. Had a question earlier about input impedances. Someone asked, oh, it's your standard 10, 11 meg or whatever. Sorry, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. It's, you get standard 10 meg-ish input impedance, except if you're on the low impedance range where it has a PTC directly across the input, basically. And then that starts out at about 2K. 2K is its cold value. And then if you hook it up to mains, it'll heat up due to the current going through it, and it'll go up and stuff like that. So it's your regular low impedance mode thing. Presentation is excellent. Oh, in the video. Thank you very much. How does this meter compare than a Fluke 87? Haven't seen our full video and read the specs. Offhand, it's not a hugely highly spec'd meter. It's got a really nice voltage reference in it. This is kind of a weird thing. Sort of late in the development process, I was thermally testing it, and the results weren't as good as I liked. There was some drift in the thermal chamber and stuff like that. And we looked into it, and, it was like the voltage reference wasn't that good, but we're trying to lower the cost, so I decided, no, look, let's put a nice voltage reference in there. So I think we're using the same voltage reference as what's used inside the, the $600, $500 or $600 Keysight U1280 series. It's the Analog Devices. I can't remember. It's in the Kickstarter, part numbers in the Kickstarter campaign. So we added, voltage reference. So we put in this kick-ass voltage reference. And I asked them, because they're the ones that determine the manufacturer, the designers, the company who's designing and manufacturing this, they're the ones who determine the specifications because they have to guarantee it at their calibration facility and all that sort of stuff. And we put in this new, much better voltage reference in there. And they came, and I said, well, surely the specs must improve. And they went, oh, no. So I didn't quite understand. So they were a bit apprehensive to change the specs that they were willing to say. So I think it's more capable than the specs in the manual make out. But they're the ones who determine the specs. I mean, I could determine it myself if I really wanted to, but they're the ones who've got to do the calibration, and they're the ones with the experience of manufacturing multimeters for 20 years and whatnot, and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to bow to them in terms of setting the specs. But yeah, the specs are probably quite conservative. They should be better than what's in the manual. So it probably does not. Fluke 87, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. It's not going to be much better if it is. There are better meters on the market spec wise, like the Bryman 869 is a better spec meter than this one. It's a little bit more expensive, but maybe a similar-ish price point. So it's a better spec meter. If you're just after specifications, it's got it. I don't know whether it has as good a voltage reference as this one, but what they claim for their specs is better than this one. This is designed. We were deliberately trying to get a lower cost target, so it doesn't use a laser trimmed reference divider resistor, for example. It doesn't use like a ceramic hybrid divider resistor. The ADR 3412. Thank you. So it doesn't use, like Flukes use, and other real expensive high-end meters use their own custom precision ceramic resistor divider network. Will it smell good? It's pretty good. Whew. Oh, by the way, some people, I don't think I actually showed a photo of this. This is the case. This is the case that it'll come with. I currently have 1,000 of these sitting over in the corner of my corridor. I tweeted a photo of all the boxes stacked up. I've got 1,000 of these already. We ordered those ahead of things. So yeah, it'll come with one of those. It comes with the Bryman test leads. I had to update the Q&A, the FAQ, frequently asked questions for that. Yeah, it comes with the Bryman standard BM235, the gold-plated ones, the good ones. Comes with that because I didn't like the UEI test leads. Have you got the UEI leads there, David? Didn't know they allowed porn on Kickstarter. And they're the short ones, right? And these are the, oh yeah, so these are the Bryman, you've seen the Bryman ones. They come with the, the tips and the banana plugs. Oh no, they're different ones. Yeah, so these are the UEI ones. In fact, they came with much longer ones. I think I posted photos in the backers forum. Like these, like the right angle connector was like this long. I'm not kidding. It was like this long on them. Like they had really nice strain release, but they were ridiculously long, and they stuck out of the meter so far it was ridiculous. Like they stuck out like this far to the point where if you use the tilt-in bail, right? If you use the tilt-in bail, they would have practically touched the. Did they foul the desk, David? If you remember rightly, they were so long that they fouled the desk at one point. The other ones, there should be other ones there somewhere, but if David can find them, we'll show. Otherwise, yeah, but they were so long, so I said, hey, they're no good. So they sort of redid them. I don't know if they had them in stock, but they redid them and they made them much shorter. But they just didn't. They're just not as nice a feel. They're got the, and they're not gold plated, of course. No, that's the same one. Yeah, no, they just didn't feel as good as the Bryman. Yeah, they're it. There you go. So the Bryman ones are just more rubbery. The shroud on the end, the guard on the finger guard on the end is better. I don't know. They just, anyway, here it was. Look at that. Here we go. This is nuts. Look at the length of that. I wasn't kidding, right? So here we go. This is the original ones they sent me compared to the updated ones. Look at the length of that puppy. Have you ever seen one so long? That was the original ones that they wanted to ship with the meter. And yes, it's just crazy. Anyway, so they sent the short ones, and I didn't particularly, and the grip on there to pull them out wasn't really nice. These were better, but I don't know. I didn't like them, so I said, nah, look, I'll just use the Bryman ones. Everyone seems to like the Bryman ones. I've had no complaints about the Bryman leads. So I'm paying more. It cost me more to have the Bryman leads supplied. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have just supplied the standard ones. I'm number 5 on trending, David's saying. Woot. How much did the overall development cost you? Sydney Aronovich. This is a really interesting question. It didn't cost me a cent. And this will be in the... Oh, no. Thank you, David. It didn't. Yes, no, it actually cost me quite a bit. I'll explain. It didn't. The actual development did not cost me a cent. UEI, they've been working on this for almost 2 years, I think, from the original time we sort of started chatting about the possibility of doing this thing. And they have paid for everything. And you saw some of in the video, you saw some of the prototypes that they've sent over the years. They've sent dozens. They've made dozens of different prototypes. And they're unbelievably good at spinning quick prototypes, almost too good. I've got to tell them, look, stop. And they're just, on a dime, they'll just spin a new prototype. It's amazing. And they didn't charge me a cent. They're basically relying on the fact that my channel's popularity, everything else, will make a successful product for them, and they've built in enough margin. I think they've said that we have to sell a couple of thousand at least for them to break even or something like that, you know. So, but this is a long-term thing, you know. I plan to sell this for years. So, you know, yeah. So they, on that, I haven't spent a cent, but David just reminded me that, of course, David's a full-time employee. He works for the EEVblog full-time. I pay him a real engineering wage, apparently. And and he's been working on the app. Not to mention other stuff to do with the design as well, testing things and stuff like that. He spent a lot of hours on the app. Would you care to guesstimate?
Give me a moment.
Give me a moment. We should apply for the R&D tax concession.
Oh, we'd already applied.
I know. I have to formally apply for that. I need a track of hours. And so, yeah, so basically I've been paying him a full-time engineering wage to develop the app, the Bluetooth app for this thing, the open source app, and it's taken a lot longer than we thought it would, just due to try and make it cross-platform and everything. So a lot of hours. So technically I have spent probably a lot of money on that. So there you go. I'm already at 500 backers, am I? Jeez. No, I'm at 455 backers. Who said 500? Yeah, they're very good UEI. They've been really good behind this. And that's why I haven't really whipped them much. You know, like if I was designing this myself, if I was like actually doing everything, like laying out the board and doing the schematic and the whole works, I didn't. They're the ones who laid out the board. They're the ones who did the schematic, but I was closely involved in it at a lot of levels. Completely specifying everything, rechanging everything and modifications and fixing problems that they couldn't solve and all sorts of stuff. Oh, 500 meters. So can you see how many? That's the weird thing about Kickstarter. You can't see how many. You can see how many people. There's 456 backers that I can see at the moment. But you can't see how many actual meters have been solved unless you go into, I don't know, I'm not sure. Anyway, I just found out that Kickstarter don't allow nested comments. I cannot reply, as the campaign owner, cannot reply to an individual person's comment in the comment section. It's the most retarded thing I've ever seen. It's just dumb. It is just entirely, I can leave a comment globally, but I can't reply to someone personally. What the hell is wrong with Kickstarter? That's just dumbest thing ever. 400 hours? Yeah, okay. Yeah, three. Let's say let's call it 300 to 400 hours. Oh, sorry, viewers. Okay, right. People were referring to 500 viewers. Okay, not backers. Okay.
The error is between 250 hours to 400 hours.
250 to 400 hours. He's put error bars on his on his prediction. Nerd. Yeah, this is great. So anyway, I was probably saying early on, only 8 $5 backers. Okay. Yep. There's not many who want to get the behind the scenes video. I've got to shoot that now. I've got to make something. I don't know. Because that's the thing. Like, I'll have to cobble that video together because I've promised this video about the development of this thing. I'll cobble it together from all our emails and the original. I'll show like the original presentation. PowerPoint presentation that they did to me when we first proposed it, and stuff like that. The first prototype and things like that. Early schematics, because we completely changed the processor. It used to use a PIC processor, and then it changed to an ST ARM, and there's been it's just been nuts. Anyway, hopefully I'll put together a video. Well, I've promised, haven't I? Yep. Anyway, yeah, I think I was saying early on, I didn't finish that. I probably would have been a bit disappointed if I didn't get 1,000 backers eventually, given my audience and stuff. And my last my last Kickstarter, which was my microcurrent gold, it got 1,100 backers or something like that. It got a little bit over 1,000 backers. And it was a lower cost product, so there's more appeal. This one's higher cost product, so there's less appeal. But a lot of people already have multimeters, so it's a bit of a trade-off. So I estimated that yeah, you know, I probably would have been a bit disappointed if I didn't get 1,000 backers, perhaps. That's kind of what I estimated. Like, I don't think it's going to go crazy to like 5,000 or anything like that. I can't see it. I'd be stunned if it did. You know, 2,000 would be really like kick ass. I'd be pretty surprised at that. So, yeah, I'm expecting, this is kind of, it's what I expected, sort of the initial rush of like, you know, I thought, because I've ordered 500 meters, so I made the gamble that I could sell at least 500. So even if the Kickstarter didn't work, I would just sell them on my web store and then just do a video. Hey, here it is, you know. So, because I order the Bryman BM235, I order 600 of those at a time per batch. And they sell very well. Fluke is in trouble. You'd say 10K watt. Sorry, I should read the thread more rather than looking at my stupid head. Here we go. I'll put the thread under. Oh, yes. I just realized, yes, the 450 meters are gone. The early bird backers are gone. Can you like share screen with this sort of thing? Invite a co-host. Okay, just looking at what I can do here in this stream. I can pin a link or message to viewers for, okay, I can pin a link or message for viewers for 60 seconds. That's interesting. I don't want to click on it. I don't want to ruin, it's working. I don't trust this. Invite a co-host, or I can broadcast a Facebook Live. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah, the early birds are sold out. Wow. Yep. People are 17 backers now for the March one, because there's no other option now. All gone. Yep, it says all gone. Yep. Reward no longer available. Good to see that works. So yeah, they're gone. I'm actually getting 500. December 5th. They're going to ship them December 15th or 16th. So they've promised. So, you know, we should be able to ship before Christmas. That's the plan. Geez, it's going to be hectic, though. Yeah, but apart from that, the reason that it's March is because I think I mentioned this on the forum, the supporters section of the forum, is that there's a component shortage. The analog to digital converter, sorry, not the analog to digital converter, the analog devices, True RMS converter chip and the ST-ARM Micro are both limited supply, like long lead time items. We've bought up as much stock as we can. We're still trying to find more stock, but they're like there is stock out there, but like they're those component vultures, and they're charging like $15 a chip when it should be $2 or $3, you know, and that just blows out the cost target. The other thing is the meter's not as cheap as I originally wanted. I originally had a lower price target in mind, and the cost has crept up over time. Technically, the cost is more than the contracted cost. Like, we have a contract for this, and there's a contract price in there. It's actually more than the contract price because we've added an extra voltage reference, other precision parts. We added in a more precision True RMS converter and all sorts of, stuff. And they passed on the cost. And it's got gold-plated contacts on the range switch and stuff like that have all, every little thing we do adds little cost here and there, and they've spent so much time and effort on it. I didn't want to argue, so it's a bit, the margin's much less than what I wanted, what I was hoping for, and it's not going to come down in volume really. So unless I renegotiate the price of this thing, maybe once they realize it's popular in a year's time, I might be able to, if it's still selling in big volume on my web store, I might be able to Sharpie autograph on the early birds. Why do everyone want signature? I don't get the signature thing. I don't get it. No, I'm sure some people would feel it's vandalized if it's got my signature on it. I've got some, they will have, I've got my holographic stickers, which I use on my microcurrent. I've got there we go, number 0000 and 1. I do know who's getting number 1 and number 2. Not saying, but yeah, I'll put my own serial number sticker, and hopefully there's room to put it on the back. we actually ran into an issue because we want to keep the serial number that's on there for manufacturing tracking purposes. So yeah, so we do want to keep that, but we need room to put the serial number, and we don't want to put it over anything else. Maybe I can put it over the French advertisements warning, French warning thing. By the way, if you're wondering why the manual, something's beeping at me, my phone's beeping at me. If you're wondering why the manual has a couple of warnings in there in French, this was a requirement of the test house. When we went to get this thing certified, they came back and said, to meet certification, it must have warnings in French, because this is due to the French-Canadian thing in Canada. If you want it certified in Canada, it must have French warnings in the manual. So we had to add French warnings in the manual. It's like, it's the only country that asked for it. So, you know. Oh, yes, by the way, if you haven't seen it, someone's moving out. It's furniture going down the corridor. There is the Dave hand. There is the Dave hand inside. There it is, molded into the case. Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted my face on my own multimeter, just like Dick Smith, just like Tricky Dick Smith used to put his face, the Dick head, as it was called, on his multimeters, on his gear. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I always dreamed about having a face on the multimeter. So when it came to this, I thought, should I have my face on the front? And I went, nah, it looks dicky. It's just unprofessional. It looks... So I settled for having it molded inside the case. So it's hidden away. So that's kind of cool. Because of the Canadian market. Okay, Peter. Yeah, you get a lot of French, a lot of Canadian stuff, yeah. Try living here with that French bullshit. Yeah, they have their own laws and everything, don't they, in their own provinces and stuff, I believe. Why just that blue? Why not burgundy red? Because this is the official EEVblog blue. There's a specific Pantone color that I've specified as I've deemed to be the EEVblog blue. And why? I don't know. I think, no, it originally came about because Bryman... Like, I wanted something different when I was rebadging that Bryman BM235. Because it normally comes with red, and I said, oh, maybe I should have a different color. And I said, what, do you have it in any other color? And they said, oh, yeah, we've got stock of blue. Well, we use blue for some other product. And I said, yeah, blue sounds great. Send us the blue. And then I, asked them what Pantone color that was. And then we just stuck to, I think it's 3005C. I think 3005 is the Pantone blue, the official EEVblog blue. So I'm trying to standardize now. That's officially in the EEVblog logo and stuff. So, they're supposed to be the same blue. I specified the Pantone color, and they're not quite, it depends on the light and manufacturing and, whether or not it's like this is molded into rubber, this is on a, inkjet, screen printed onto stickers. So anyway, trash can blue one. Number 4 on trending. Woohoo! Joe Public's probably surfing trending and going, what is this blue thing? What does this do? Does it? I don't know. It's not a new 3D printer. It's not a 3D printer. It's not a smartwatch. I thought that was the only thing on Kickstarter. What? Fluke is in trouble. No, Fluke's not in trouble. Fluke. They're just over the road from me, Fluke Australia. They just sold their place. They're renting it. Just sold for just over $1 million. They actually went to the auction. And somebody's their new landlord. I could have been Fluke's landlord if I had $1 million to buy the 250 square meters that they're in. Imagine that if I was Fluke's landlord. That'd be hilarious. I should have done a Kickstarter just to raise money for that, just for kicks. That would have been great. What is the difference between this and the BM235? It's a different class of meter. It's dual display. It's more accurate. It's 0.005% class. Its specs aren't, it's not going to compete with the specs of other like $500 meters and stuff like that. But you know, it's much better than your regular, and it's 50,000 count, dual 50,000 count. So you get an extra digit of resolution there. So dual 50,000 count, it's got Bluetooth, it's got SD card data logging, it's got low burden voltage, microcurrent, the maximum chips in there for lower burden voltage. You can measure burden voltage. It's got 15-volt diode mode. It's got the power measurement there. It can measure voltage and current at the same time. Just lots of differences. It's a different class meter. I'm not going to discontinue the BM235. It sells too well, and it's a different price bracket meter. If you've got $100 to spend on a meter, the BM235 is a decent choice. If you've got $200 to spend on a meter, this one's a decent choice. Well, hopefully. So, yeah, it's visible on the Kickstarter front page now under popular, is it? Am I, David? Am I on the Kickstarter front page? Kickstarter front page is weird. You've got to go to the other tab. What is it? No, projects we love. Do they love it yet? I'm number 4 on trending. I don't know what determines their love. No, it's no love for a multimeter. Does the bootloader allow for users to upload custom firmware? In theory, it could. Yeah, but the firmware is not open source for various reasons. It's just the company's very uneasy about doing that. They're the ones writing the firmware. Probably uses a lot of their proprietary code too. The app is smiley face. David's sending me a message from across the room. Oh, yes, the app is open source. He wants to remind me. He wants me to remind everyone the app is open source, but the firmware is not. But there's nothing stopping you. The schematic's published. The header's built in. You can buy it like for 15 or 20 bucks on DigiKey. You can buy the ST, what is it? The ST Link 2 Plus. The ST Link something or other programmer. You can buy that and plug it in and hack around to your heart's content. There's nothing stopping you doing that. Maybe we can publish maybe open part of the firmware, perhaps like the driver routines for the LCD and the switches and the buttons and whatnot. Maybe we can release the bootloader code is open source because it is actually the ST. Well, it's not quite open, but maybe we can release the software for that. I don't know. I have to talk to them about it because technically I don't own it because I didn't pay for this. So I don't, it's not my ultimate decision. It's theirs. So yeah, because it uses the ST bootloader code. So it uses the to write to the SD card and stuff as all the ST libraries and stuff like that. So it's mostly off-the-shelf ST card stuff. I hope it can be tweaked to do ESR measurements via Bluetooth. Well, no, not really, because to do proper ESR measurements, you need 100 kilohertz test signal. That's the industry standard test frequency for ESR. So by definition, no, it's not going to do it. Does the pledged amount include shipping? No, it doesn't. I thought I made that pretty clear. No, it doesn't include shipping. Shipping's extra. I'm charging shipping at, kind of at cost because it doesn't let me set a different price level for different countries. It's just like overseas and Australia. And it's like $30 Australian overseas. And that's basically my cost price that DHL Express Courier are charging me. I've got a business account and that's what they're charging me. Some countries is more expensive than $30. Some it's slightly under. So I set that as like an average value. Some I'll win, some I'll lose on. But I don't like to charge extra for shipping. I like to charge shipping at cost. And maybe I can, because I know there's import tax problems with various Europe, of course. Europe's the big thing. Yes, the ST-Link V2. That's it. It's compatible with that. For logging, can it log both voltage and current? Yes, it does. It's got 2 fields in the CSV. It logs, but if you've got it in voltage and current, if you've got it in VA measurement mode, yes, it will log voltage and current at the same time. ST's code is horrible. Okay. No, seems to kind of work. I haven't been able to break the bootloader. I've tried pulling out the SD card when it's, booting up, when it's doing the firmware upload and stuff like that. Can't, it handles it just fine. The total project lists a pledged amount currently. Does that include, I don't know whether or not the pledged amount that's publicly shown on Kickstarter includes the delivery or not. I don't know. Were there any design compromises? Yeah. Like if I was designing this myself, yeah, I would have, maybe it would have turned out differently. I would have done a lot more small tweaks. You know, if I was laying out the board, I would have done like lots of small tweaks, which they, you know, I did not want to micromanage this. And because I wasn't paying for it, paying for the development, I didn't want, you know, that's poor form to micromanage it. I think I did. I think I pushed him enough as it is. So yeah, there's design compromises. It's trying to meet a price point is not easy. It's, you know, and they've got to make a profit in this thing, and they took a big gamble. You know, if I was paying for it, if I paid for all the development, the 2 years worth of development on this thing, it probably would have been cheaper. Almost certainly would have been cheaper for me in the end. I would have been making more margin on it. Could have been lower price. I could have included some extra features or whatnot. But yeah, there's compromises from the fact that you've got to deal nicely with the company that's paying for it. You know, so what's the resistance accuracy resolution? Oh, it's in the manual. It's like 0.1% or so. It's not 0.05 for the resistance. It's got a 50 ohm mode, so the resolution is 1 milliohm, so it's pretty good. Will it tell you when the internal CR1220 battery needs replacement? Didn't think of that. No, I don't think it does. I don't think it does. It just powers no. No, it doesn't, because the battery is connected directly to the real-time clock. There's a real-time clock chip in here. It's connected directly to the voltage pin of that. So to read that, then we would have a line going off to the micro, and that would have potentially drained. Well, it could have included a big high value resistor in series with it, maybe, but it would have drained the battery. Would have put more drain on the battery. So no, it's gonna. No, I guess the real-time clock will just stop working. You know, it'll reset every time you boot it up if it dies. But no, that was a good question. Does it come with an SD card? Yes, it does. They're a dime a dozen, you know, like a 2 gig or something. I think they're like 10 cents, aren't they, from China? 984 ordered. Really? 984 ordered. Where do you get that from? Where do you get that from, Service Computers LLC? Where do you get a figure of 984? I see 497 backers. And not that many people are ordering too. Yeah, I could do a teardown video. There is a flux capacitor inside this thing. There actually is. I'll say no more. He's trolling me. Wait, how do you order two? This is the weird thing with Kickstarter. Kickstarter, by design, is not a store. So it doesn't deal with quantities. It just deals with backer level. So I believe what you do is you choose your backer level. In my case, there's only one left. And if it's like $250, then if you want two, you have to pledge $500. But I don't know what happens if, well, I kind of do. If like it's because it's a free field form. Like I would actually have to have another pledge level to say 2 meters, and then and set that at say 500. And that would be the 2 meter pledge level. But if you can choose the 1 meter pledge level, which is 250, but then you can type in 500. You can type in any value, or you can type in 300. And what happens if you type in 300? It's like, well, I get $50 for free because you haven't met the. So I've got to sort out all that manually, that mess at the end when I get the huge database of what people have backed and how much they've given me. Because Kickstarter is not a store. It's designed to be, you pledge money and the whole idea of the levels, the backer levels, are that you must pledge at least that minimum to get to that support level. But you can pledge more on that support level. You can pledge $1 more. You can pledge $1,000 more on that level. So it's like, yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, they deliberately did not design it as a store. 582 people watching. Yeah, the problem is they're technically they've told me after they've made the 500 units in December in a couple of weeks, then the stock, they don't have stock until late February. So that's why I put March. That's why I put March on the rest of the units, because we might be able to come sooner if we can find sources for those couple of parts that we're having sourcing issues with. They'll come earlier, so I'll ship them as soon as I can, but they're saying basically end of February. So I'm only promising March for the rest of the units. If you didn't get into the 450 units, then yeah. Yep. Back at number 500 in 3, 2, 1. Yay. Oh, there you go. Back at number 500. Wow. There you go. Like I said, I've blown my wad, basically. I like in terms of promoting this thing, unless I want to promote it again to the same people. I've done Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, the forum supporters section, and the forum in general, and I've done a video on my main channel. So that's it. I haven't checked the video on the main channel. Announcement video. Let me have a look. Where's that at? What's the thumbs up to thumbs down? 348 thumbs up, 17 thumbs down. Cool. The comments. I won't read the comments now. Where will firmware updates be available? Good question. I don't know, the official GitHub, my website, I guess I'd just have it on the website, maybe. But there'll be an official GitHub repository for it. There already is, technically. Is the GitHub up, or is it still on GitLab, David?
Oh, it's on GitLab.
It's on GitLab. Will it remain on GitLab?
Well, we can obviously put it on both.
Right. But you're creating an EEVblog one instead of your personal one.
Primarily, it'll work on GitLab regardless. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you've created an EEVblog GitLab?
No, that'll be GitHub.
Oh, that'll be GitHub. Oh, okay. No, there's already an EEVblog GitHub.
Then I can move that.
I've got an account on GitHub.
Yeah.
There's an official. Yeah. All right. I'll have to give you the login details. Yeah. Anyway, so that's where the code's going to be.
The working copy though will probably stay with GitLab just because it
right.
works a lot better.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
GitLab actually GitHub integrates really well. I just prefer the way GitLab.
Okay. He prefers GitLab for his Visual Studio thing. How do you know if I was in the first 400, Stephen? Well, you would have got an email telling you which level you backed at, and you would have backed it. Yeah, it's got a built-in thermometer. Any multimeter that measures, any decent multimeter that measures temperature using an external thermocouple will have an internal temperature sensor. It must, to do cold temperature compensation. I've done a video on that. Do Bryman do the pop-on sharp test probes? No, they don't. Is it going to be available on Amazon, eBay, EEVblog store? Yeah, eventually, once the Kickstarter's all clear. Yep, definitely. I don't. It'd be poor form if I had stock and I put it on the Kickstarter now, like the coolest cooler, is it? They did this Kickstarter, they got like $10 million, and then it was available on Amazon before they even shipped to their backers. It was terrible. So yeah, it'll be eventually on there. I just don't have stock. The stock's going all to the Kickstarters. So yeah, well, it'll be March or beyond before we get really serious high volume. As I said, the BM235, I'm buying 600 at a time, and I go through batches in a month or two. So I'm selling a lot of meters. Oh, do I have a magnetic hanger to show us? No, it's at the lab. I've only got one. Yeah, there is technically a magnetic hanger. It's sort of, oh, David thinks, no, that's Bryman. No, I've only got one. No, David thinks he's got it. No, I know. Yep, no, there's only one. It slots in the back. I guess I forgot all about that, making it available. I don't know. Sorry. It might eventually be for sale. What will the regular price be? I don't know. 250 US maybe. I don't know. Still more viewers than there are backers, but the gap is closing fast. Only 1 meter drop. Can it survive drop from a dam? I don't know. I haven't tested it. I actually haven't tested it on concrete. I've only thrown it around the lab. I haven't really, haven't really given it a good thorough going. It's not the world's most rugged meter. It's not designed for field use. It's designed more for lab use. You know, it doesn't have a hugely thick holster. I mean, you know, with the big ridges inside and stuff to sort of absorb that impact and things like that. And, you know, technically the range, you know, if it fell flat on its face, the range switch would be dead. You know, it's not, because I wanted to make, it's already bulky enough with the 4 AA batteries. So it's quite unusual in that square form factor like that. It was already bulky enough. It's not that big. If you take it out, it's not actually much thicker than the BM235, but the holster just makes it so, yeah, like the, you know, that's it there, like that, you know. But by the time you whack it in there, it just, you know, with the probe holders on the back, it just sort of becomes, you know, kind of a bit chunky looking. But it uses 4 AAs. That was a thing that a lot of people request. Yeah, it's just rated for falling off a bench. That's all it's rated for. It's not a robust field. Yeah, it's okay, but it's not. Yeah, that was not a priority at all. Yeah, the IP rating, there's, you know, it's practically no IP rating on it. I'm not willfully tossing it. Yeah, it's just like survive a drop off a bench. That's all you need. You know, really. There's other meters on the market if you want to survive, you know, 2 meter, you know, the Fluke 28 Series 2 and the Keysight, whatever it is, you know, equivalent one. They're designed to be, you know, really rugged outdoor, but they're huge. They're really physically big meters. They're massive. And I didn't want that. I like small meters. I like the fact that the Bryman's small, and this one, my original spec simply said no bigger, basically no bigger than this. That was, you know, I allowed a few millimeters bigger or something, but it was basically, you know, same size as this. This is already a nice, cute little compact meter, and I really do like that. Did they adjust the probe holders so that they won't wobble on the bench? Oh, yes, they did. That was a problem. If you're an early supporter, these were really thin on the back, and if you put it on the bench, it would like wobble like Jello. It was really quite funny. Yeah, they fixed that. I told them about that, and they went in there and strengthened them up, and yeah, so now it doesn't. You know, it really doesn't. Sorry, I can't show that. Somebody commented that I've got to buy David an ice cream if it reaches 500K. All right. What's your preferred ice cream?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
See? Amateur ice cream eater.
Magnum almond, they're great. There's caramel ones.
Right.
They're great.
Is that all? See, I would have
gold-plated, is it?
I would have gone for like a solid liter tub of, you know.
Oh yeah.
So,
no, you die.
And you die, all right. Wuss doesn't know how to hold his ice cream.
Yeah, Golden Gate has some, like, the second favorite. They're amazing.
Will the com spec be published? Yes, the com spec will be available. It's in the. Is it in the manual? It's not in the latest manual. It hasn't been updated to the website yet, but it will be in the manual. Yeah, the Bluetooth. It's a bit weird. It took us a while to figure out what the Bluetooth spec was. It's there. They're a bit. The guys who wrote it are. Yeah.
I think it's definitely a story that, you know, they had an existing packet protocol.
Right, and they've hacked it.
They had the code, obviously,
yeah,
to output it, because they had fields for things that weren't relevant.
Yeah, right.
And then I think they must have just had someone else add things to that packet protocol. So it wasn't internally consistent.
Yep.
So they didn't have like the same format for numbers or
right. It wasn't
in the extension of the packet.
It definitely was not thought from ground up. Yeah. And EEVblog DSO. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. That's hard enough work doing a simple multimeter. Yeah, there won't be a manual. Yeah, wire-bound manual. There won't be a manual. I don't like the BM235 shipped with a manual, and it was like that's just a waste. Nobody reads the manual. So I eventually told early units ship with a manual, and then I said, and I was trying to get the weight under 500 grams. So I said, like for shipping reasons, shipping threshold limits, and I said, let's ditch the manual. So we eventually ditched the manual. It's just dumb. So unfortunately, yeah, this is more than 500 grams. So that really pushes, like it's like 700 grams or something. And when you include the case and everything, it's like it pushes it over the 500 gram limit for postage and stuff, which is kind of annoying. Can I speak to the risk of a hardware update that will render the first release obsolete? It's a risk. I mean, it's a risk. I mean, I expect there to be issues found when we get this in the hands of 1,000 people, right? It's simply like, it's impossible for you to debug your own, like to find stuff in your own product. Nothing beats having it in the hands of users actually using the thing. And we expect to find all sorts of bugs and things, but hopefully they're all fixable with hardware. But if there is a hardware issue,
Software.
So I say software. Yeah, if the software, if there's a software issue, we can fix that because there's a bootloader. Just download the file, put it on your SD card, and Bob's your uncle, right? Easy. Anyone can do that. If there's a bootloader problem, which there has been once in the development of this thing, we had to change the bootloader once in the 2 years we've been working on this. Well, maybe a year and a bit since we've actually had bootloader capability in it. It did change once, but because the bootloader only talks to the SD card, the range switch, the buttons, and the LCD, that's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. Then, you know, the likelihood of the bootloader changing is very remote. But if you did do that, there is a header inside. You'd have to buy a $20 ST micro development programmer thing to actually fix the bootloader if it did come to that. But the hardware, you know, unfortunately, it's, yeah, we're just going to have to take our chances. Like the Bryman went through to go through hardware change. It went through a couple of firmware changes, and the firmware is burned into the chip, and they spent 2.5 years developing this. And it's still, I found, and my users, all my viewers, they found all sorts of issues with this, which slowly got refined over time. Yeah, there was the hardware issue with the backlight. You know, they had to change the hardware after it was released. But yeah, and that will become a problem if there's backward compatibility with firmware and calibration. We were just talking to David today about that, the calibration issue. Calibration's in a protected part of memory, but if we have to change a functionality of the chipset, because the chipset in here is very advanced, it's got all these registers, and if you change some of them, it can upset the calibration. So you can fix issues, but you have to recalibrate the meter or particular ranges. So hopefully, yeah, that's a logistical thing, but hopefully, no. Fingers crossed there's no hardware issues. Or if there is, they're not so critical that we can't wait until another release. You know, like 2 years down the track, we might learn a lot from this because it's a learning exercise, you know, developing a multimeter from scratch. It's not a rebadger. This is not a reference design. This is completely designed from the ground up. It is not based on any existing design. But hopefully everything's ironed out. Yes, they will be available on the EEVblog store later, but well, I'm talking March next year at the earliest.
512.
512, nice round number. Oh yeah, the non-counterfeit ST-Link V2. The genuine one's $20, is it? What can you get the counterfeit ones on eBay for? $5 delivered. Yeah, but you can't be to test your own stuff. It doesn't work. Like, you can pick up obvious stuff, but like the more subtle things, it's just, we're going to have to wait until they're in the hands of users, unfortunately. No, I'm not going to design my own oscilloscope. No, I'm not going to use a rechargeable battery in this, an 18650. No, there's no point. Oh no, can you get primary 18650s? Yes, you can, can't you? It's more like the CR123 for the primary. No, 18650s, no. It's got 500 plus hours anyway. So there's no point having a rechargeable battery in it. I think it's just silly. And shipping lithium batteries is bad. You do not want to be shipping lithium batteries. Trust me. So this is regular alkalines. We can ship those. Does the app record phone, GPS, and sensor data too? No. Never thought of that. I don't see the...
Do you want it to?
Do you want it to? David asks. Of course they'll say yes. Don't ask. They'll say yes. They'll say yes. Of course they're going to say yes.
What's the purpose?
It's free to say yes. The purpose is to know your location, to get proof that you were at a location. It's an audit thing. That's a big thing, is like serial numbers that must be recorded in, for if you're at a company, if you're at a strict company, they want everything recorded and audited. And the more stuff you have, more stuff you include, the happier the audit people are. No, it's like, no, sorry. No, it's not going to use an 18650. No, it's just not. 18650s are rechargeable unless you can get it's not a thing. No, you can't scrap them. It'd be very poor design choice to design around an 18650 battery. And then you'd need two of them to get the voltage required, the voltage level required to power it. So is there an upper limit on SD card size? There might be, but you'll never hit it. You will run out of battery before you hit the SD card limit. So yeah, everyone has AA's. AA's are the go-to. Does it have a decent frequency counter? It's got a frequency counter. It goes to 500 kilohertz or something. It's not, I'm not a big fan of frequency counters in meters. It's like it does the job, but it's nothing special. Which Agilent one are you talking about, Ben? The 1272A? The specs aren't as good in whichever Agilent one you're talking about. Oh, Peter. Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking about, the Agilent goes to a megahertz. No, I think this is 500 kilohertz maximum, just because that's the range. I don't know if that's a software limitation or not, or whether it's a chipset limitation. This uses the same Hycon Tech HY3131 chipset as the Keysight 1282 meter. The new 1282, the big rugged thing, uses exactly the same multimeter chipset. Transistor tester. Oh, 1 megahertz. David is showing me the specs say 1 megahertz. Okay, I was using it last night and it only went to 500. So maybe it's an auto. Maybe there's a range missing or something. I don't know. No, there's no possibility to include a functionality which identifies components. No, that's just not really part of the capability of the chipset. We are working on the micro supply. That will be a Kickstarter too. I've got to head off soon. Number 3 on popularity. Number 3, winner, chicken dinner. Well, it's not quite chicken dinner yet. It will be if we reach number 1. I hope this is all recorded. I assume it's recording. It says it is. It says live and recording. Yeah, number 3 on trending. I wonder what the algorithm. It must be like volume in the last hour or something. Maybe volume of backers in the last hour. That's how I'd probably do trending. Kind of be the way to do it. The world's first self-cleaning water bottle. Yeah, we look UV thing. People have discovered UV LEDs, and now you're getting all these products with antibacterial UV things. Oh, wow. Oh, no. Oh, another wireless charging pad. Why? You can buy them for $5 delivered on eBay. I can charge 2 things at once. For Apple fans. Of course it's for Apple fans. Just looking at the top projects. Oh, that's what I want. The smartest, softest, and most durable towel ever. Yeah. Nothing better than a nice fluffy towel.
Self-cleaning.
Does it connect to the internet? Is it an Internet of Things towel? It's like, your jacket is now dry. It's like the Back to the Future self-drying jacket, World's first waterproof knit shoe. I wish I could show. I wish I could screen share, but I don't know if it does it. Oh, sorry. I didn't know there was a Q&A section. There's a separate Q&A section apart from chat and selfies. Turn off selfies. Well, people can do nude selfies of themselves and send them to me, can they? Send them to Facebook. Send your nude selfies to Facebook. They've genuinely asked for them. Go and Google News that one. What is the difference between this and the BM235? Okay. Show a question to audience. How do the fuses and protection circuitry impact the burden voltage of the meter? Good question, Alex. Unlike most meters on the market, the 500 milliamp range is on the amps jack, so it uses the 11 amp fuse for the 500 milliamp range. So that's an advantage. So on the 500 milliamp range, the burden voltage is going to be really low because it's using that 11 amp HRC fuse. But the milliamp jack here, it does the 50 milliamp range and below. And on the 50 milliamp range is the only range that really gets impacted a lot, because the fuse in this on the milliamp range is about 2 ohms nominal, around about that. So 50 milliamps times 2 ohm, there you go, do the math. It dominates. It dominates because I think the resistor is an ohm. I think the shunt resistor is an ohm on the milliamp range, and the HRC fuse is 2 ohms, so it dominates. So it dominates the burden voltage only on a 50 milliamp range, but it's still quite low. So you can calculate that yourself, 50 milliamps times, say, 3 ohms or whatever. So 150, is that 150 millivolts? Is my math correct? Yeah. So, but that's worst case. That's absolute worst case, including the fuse. So, yeah, it shouldn't be over that on any other range. It should be well under. Yes, you can log both voltage and current. Good for electrical engineering student. Overkill? Oh, it's probably overkill for a student, maybe. I mean, if you got the money, buy it, I guess. But yeah, it depends on the student. Yeah, like if students are usually strapped for cash. I would not recommend, honestly, I would not recommend a $200 class meter for a student. A $50 class meter is just fine, or $100 if you want to really like a good one like this, $100 class meter. But this is like at the top end of the 6,000 count, category, but it's really good quality, top quality meter. It'll last you a long time. But a $50 meter is all you need as a student, or even less. But you can get a decent one for $50. $50 buys you other tools and things. Like, how much extra for an autograph inside the battery? I might have to see that. I don't know. Maybe I'll sign them, so I'll figure out where to sign them inside the holster or so. I don't want to sign them on the outside. That's just way too tacky. Maybe I might sign some on the inside or something. Maybe, I don't know. I don't like signing stuff. I hate signatures. I don't know why people ask. I don't see the attraction. Yes, it ships with Nesty card. I've already answered that one. I blew one of the range resistors on my microcurrent. Have never bothered about a replacement yet, but it's absolutely possible on it. How about this? Yes. Oh, no, you won't blow the range resistor on this. This is what the fuses are for. The fuses and diode protection, and all the protection built into this. You will not blow the resistor in this, guaranteed. Unless you hook it up to a, 1.21 gigawatts. Does the app support IFTTT or other Internet of Things triggers? Good question. I like IFTTT. We'll have to look into that. David, look into that. Thumbs up from David. IFTT support. Yeah, I like IFTT. I use it for some things. Yeah, we'll look at that. We'll look at that in that. He'll go check I assume there's an app thing. Yes, he's checking right now. There's probably a, what's the term? There's a app. No, there's a.
It might be part of the framework I'm already using.
Oh, it might be part of the framework he's already using. Okay. There you go. So anyway, he's investigating that now. There you go. Live development here. Does the app support login the phone? No, we've already asked that. Right. So there you go. They're the QA. No one's sent a selfie yet. Platform.iftt.com. Okay. Yeah. Are spare fuses included? Is there a space inside? There's no space inside for spare fuses. But because I have bought fuses in bulk, maybe, I don't know, as a bonus for the Kickstarters. Don't hold me to it, but I don't know, I might throw in a spare fuse or two, maybe. Because I got a really good price on the fuses. I found a manufacturer that sells decent fuses at a really good price. So I bought them in bulk. and I sell them packs of 5 or whatever. But there's no reason why I couldn't maybe throw a couple in the case. They're cheapish enough. It won't impact my margin a huge amount, I don't think. Oh, geez, I got to go. I have to go, guys. I got to, yeah. Sorry, but option to make it a kit free. What's the timeline on the Mac and iOS Acts? Sorry, we need to actually buy a Mac or buy an online Mac license server so that we can develop for Mac. Neither of us own iPhones. We're not iPhone people. We have to like buy an iPhone. So yeah, sorry. There's no ETA on that yet.
Most of the libraries that we've been using though have got iOS support.
They've got the libraries we've been using have iOS support. So we expect it to just work. Kinda.
We will
have
problems with. So the development time for iOS is Bluetooth and some small things to do with the gestures.
Gestures. Bluetooth and gestures are the pain in the ass, right? Okay.
Yeah, which will be different to what we've been using so far.
Cool. Again, wouldn't the existing UEI iOS app work? No, we've changed the protocol. Oh, it might, but that's a dicky app. That's terrible. After we saw that, after we stopped pissing ourselves, we're rolling around on the floor laughing at the app that UEI. Well, they had somebody else develop it. I don't know who, and it just looked like it was straight out of the 1990s. It was hilarious. So we just went, no, let's write our own app. This is like, and we want to tie in app with other, and we wanted to make it open source, and we wanted to, so there was reasons to write our own, but that turned into a much bigger deal than we thought it was. What was your original estimate when you first started the app? I can write this in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And it was a couple of weeks, right? You said, yeah.
Yeah, so we had basically Bluetooth in 2 weeks and not a lot else.
And not a lot. Yeah.
We had the screen rendering.
Screen rendering after 2 weeks.
Yeah, with like SVGs and stuff.
Yeah. Because he thought that cross-platform development would be easy. And all the stuff he'd read on it sort of led him to that, and it just wasn't. Many months later, like it's still like a bare bones app.
Yeah, so anyone who's reading media, press releases from the cross-platform app, whatever libraries you use or frameworks you use, they are not as easy as they make them look.
Yeah, I know, and David's had to like go back to developers of code and actually tell them to find bugs and report bugs and get them fixed before we could implement features.
Yeah, most of them are very good.
Yeah.
We've been working with some of them.
Yeah. Most of the people who are developing these libraries just for free, right? They're not commercial companies. Yeah, they're just people on forums somewhere who are developing.
Or Microsoft Rep.
Right.
Some other company rep. Yeah.
Are you ever going to release your R-print design?
I don't know.
Doesn't know.
Maybe.
Sorry, maybe.
It's a licensing issue to do with SolidWorks.
It's a licensing SolidWorks issue.
Yeah.
Anyway. Why? Can't you just release your SolidWorks file?
It wasn't my license.
He worries too much about legalities. he gets anally retentive about legalities.
Can give me a license, yeah.
I need to slap him over there. I need to slap some sense into him. He'll never survive in the real world, this young whippersnapper, if he keeps worrying about legal implications of everything. Next month, he's in jail. Anyway, no, I've got to go, guys. Sorry. Thanks. It's been like an hour or something, more than an hour, surely. Thank you for joining me on this experimental live Kickstarter. Thank you for backing. We're at last final count. We're at $147,000 and 539 backers. Woot! So hopefully I'll get to 1,000 backers. That'll be a psychological thing for me. I'll go.
Backers of the towel.
Backers of the fluffy towel's got 2,000 backers. We have to beat the fluffy towel. Yeah. The Meizu fluffy towel. That's our competition. The fluffy towel on Kickstarter. Yep. Got to beat it. Jeez, I want a fluffy towel now. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Catch you next time.